Hey, good morning, everybody. Robert Phoenix here. How is everyone today? At 9:30 a.m., we got one person showing up. Just going to hang out for a little bit and let the forces gather. Let our energy become stronger and grow from moment to shining moment in 2019. Hello, Anna Shaban. Good morning to you. How are you? It's 2019. How is everybody feeling? Does it feel like 2019? Does it still feel like 2018? It still feels a hell of a lot like 2018. Good morning, Karen. Morning, Judy. Yeah, we got freezing weather close to it here. We're in the 40s this morning, low 40s, and some very cold precipitation. Good morning, Rhonda. Good morning, Ani. Jasper may be showing up, but he was a bit of an asshole today, I have to say. He did a very un-Jasper-like thing. He got up on my kitchen countertop. Apparently, he didn't get enough to eat this morning because he was storming around looking for more food. I gave him half a can. Good morning, Vicky. Hey, Joe. And he started knocking stuff off of my countertop and busted my French press coffee maker. So Jasper's on the bench this morning. Hey, Christine, how are you? Happy New Year to everybody. Let me raise my cup of instant espresso coffee today to 2019. Yeah, he was a bad cat. A rare asshole Jasper moment. Jasper is in the doghouse, but he may pop in, knowing him. Nothing phases him, really, not much. So, how was everybody's New Year's? How is everybody's New Year's? Did everybody have a good time? Did you guys rock and roll? Did you go out and celebrate with the masses? Did you stay home and chill out and go to bed early, which is really what most people do? Jasper was probably pissed you left him. No, he's fine. He was just, he goes on, he was stomping around for food. He's a yellow tabby. They're pigs. Quiet at home, surrounded by dogs. I like that. Quiet New Year's Eve. Quiet asleep on couch by 11, uneventful. How's everybody feeling? So let me take a quick pulse here. Let me test your pulse. How's everybody feeling about 2019? Are you hopeful? Are you optimistic? What's your vibe for 2019? Do you guys get any good vibes, or do you have a sense of trepidation, anxiety? Where's it taking you? Ani says I'm feeling good. Silver says optimistic. Good. I like that. Here's to optimism. I am feeling stronger. Ooh, we like that. Stronger is good. Stronger is very good. Anna, recovering from bad respiratory infection. Oh, you had it. I'm sorry yeah, you had what I had, and what seems to be going around not just this country but the world. Murray down in Australia told me that he's got the same thing. Oh, sorry, New Zealand. He's got the same thing. And it's summer. It is summer in New Zealand, and he's really grappling with the same respiratory virus. How about that? Not only is it not just roaming around North America, it's in the Southern Hemisphere in a very different seasonal application. Finca Feliz, with these transits coming up, how should we feel? I'm not going to tell you how you should feel. I'll tell you how I feel, how I see things. Vicky says feeling really positive. Christine says excited, but another great change on the horizon. Judy comes in with very mixed, but definitely like a corner has been turned, and we are/I am in new territory. Well, I think that's probably the case for a number of people. Joe, panicked as I'm planning to move to Australia in 7 weeks. Wow. Have to let go of all I own, but a few suitcases. Big changes. Shedding skin, but hoping for a good adventure. Robin says, good morning. Silver 2019 would expect the evil to be revealed. Slow to allow for cognitive dissonance. Guess who just showed up? Bad cat. Bad cat. You know you're a bad cat. You want to see what a bad cat looks like? Here. I'll give you this is a bad cat right here. Bad cat. Bad cat. Broke my French press. So yeah, Joe's getting out of here. Joe is abandoning the ship. Not a bad thing, I guess. Hi, Justice. Good day. Feeling the weight of responsibility, but a new positive approach. So pretty good overall. I like the optimism in the room. This is great. This is really great. I'm happy. Yes, boo, Jasper. He was a bad kitty. It's a rare moment. Jasper's been a remarkable cat, but showed up in a not so remarkable way. He wanted to get my attention, I guess. And I guess it was time for a new French press, right? Let's think of it in those terms, that I really didn't need that French press coffee maker. In fact, I can get a better French press coffee maker now. It's an opportunity for me to improve my French press coffee making. Right. How much can you improve a French press coffee maker? Get a bigger one? This is already a pretty good sized French press coffee maker. So maybe it's an opportunity for me to kick coffee. I don't know. I'm already kicking just about everything else in my life. So I may as well just throw coffee in there and become a mad monk of the hill country. Okay, so shall we get into today? We got about 40 people here. Yeah, my mom is actually feeling better. Thanks, Rhonda. Get a Bialetti coffee maker. Hey, there's GMP. What's going on, GMP? Tea is great. Tea is okay. I like certain teas. Get it? I like certain tea. I don't like uncertainty. That was a joke. Luann says, this year is what we make it. You know, new opportunities. Yes, that's true. Joe's having a yard sale. If you're in North Carolina, you want to pick up some used esoteric, occult, and pagan relics, go see Joe. I'm sure she'll have quite a little stash there for you in North Carolina. Ani says, I've got to do some dog walks. I'll be listening quietly in the background. Okay, we'll walk those dogs. So there's Sophia. Joe, laugh out loud. I love coffee too. I get 1 cup a day. Yeah, 1 cup a day. So maybe I should have a certain tea to start off the new year. You never know with these things. You know, tea is loaded with fluoride. It's one of those things you don't know. It's when you get into the whole fluoride thing, you find out tea is loaded with fluoride. So that's another thing about tea. But I do like certain teas. My favorite teas, just to let you know, since this is sort of a time of disclosure, I really like Lapsang Souchong, which is a very dark and smoky tea, and I like the kind of nutty green tea. Was it matcha, sencha? One of those teas. So that's about it for me and tea. Oh, Irish tea. Oh, I do like Irish tea. I used to drink Irish tea, but then I found Lapsang Souchong, and it was Irish tea on steroids. Lapsang Souchong. So, okay, shall we get into what we're going to talk about today? First thing I want to talk about is one of the things that went down over the holidays, which is when I was not really doing a lot of broadcasting, was that Trump basically sacked James Mattis. And he sacked James Mattis sort of directly and indirectly. First of all, directly he sacked him because he decided that he was going to get out of Syria. Now, I think this is my own personal analysis, is that Trump has a real problem on his hands with what happened with Mr. Khashoggi, and Jared Kushner might have been either directly or indirectly involved in what happened with Khashoggi. Certainly, he was being connected and communicating on a frequent basis with his pal, his millennial pal, bin Salman, through WhatsApp. And all those conversations have been basically hacked and recorded by the Turks. And of course, the Saudi Arabian consulate was in Turkey, and the entire consulate had been wired for sound, so they heard everything. The Turks have everything on tape, and I don't think it's out of the question that Erdogan basically extorted Trump. And now what Trump has done is he's turned this into a moment, a big moment, so that he can use the chaos, get troops out of Syria, get them out of Afghanistan, maybe redirect them somewhere else on the planet. Stop it, Jasper. Maybe redirect them somewhere else on the planet, and also begin to deploy Blackwater, which it seems like that's going to happen. Blackwater is going to start to take over for some military operations in that part of the world. The arms sales to Saudi Arabia will continue, and Saudi Arabia will continue to pummel Yemen, which goes on to be one of the greatest crises, unreported crises around the planet, or especially or particularly in this country. It's been devastating. It's been a devastating war for the Yemenis, and our equipment and hardware has helped bring that devastation, and death and disfigurement and all those things that make life on Earth a living hell. But this is a new year, so we're looking at this from an optimistic perspective. So Trump has now decided that he's going to get his troops out, which is not a bad thing. It seems like he's kind of changed a little bit on a personal level, perhaps. It feels like he's got a different vibe. That's what I'm kind of picking up and feeling, kind of more serious. Looks like he wants to be beholden to his promises. I'm sure that would make Ann Coulter feel a lot more warm and fuzzier on the inside than currently does, since she's been going after him for quite a while. But it also poses an interesting question. What happens between Trump and the military? Now, Trump has pissed off the press. Number one, the press. He has pissed off the civilian intelligence agencies, the FBI, the CIA, and the NSA. He's pissed off all those guys. And the one Trump card he had, pun slightly intended, was the military. And if we are to believe the fact that the military actually was responsible for Trump being elected, this is what a number of people in the alternative news current have been promulgating, is that they were the force, they were the power behind the throne, and now he's pissing them off, right? So Mattis is taking shots at him, Kelly's taking shots at him. He's got Stan McChrystal who's taking shots at him. Petraeus is taking shots at him. I mean, he's taking it on the chin, right and left from the military now. So who does he have? He's kind of backed into a corner. He's got Blackwater. He's got Eric Prince and Betsy DeVos and the Amway army, which is basically what it is. So who does he have? This is a really Trump. Just he kind of blows me away. Now, I'm not saying that the U.S. military is perfect, right? I mean, come on now. They are into these wars. Let's be clear about that. It gives them a raison d'etre, gives them a right to live, right? This is they have a reason to live. And if the wars go away, well, their capacity is diminished, and now they're warriors without a real game plan. So even though I believe they probably would be into quote unquote a just war or a real war, they'll take any war, right? Because at the very least, it validates their existence. They get to deal with hierarchies. They get to deal with budgets. Apparently, from what I understand, Mattis had his own secret budget, like inside of the budget that was allocated for what was going down in Syria and Middle East and military. So Mattis had his own little private stash, and he was running his own kind of war games, right? And kind of unbeknownst to Trump. This is another thing that's come out. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens next, because Trump has decided that he's going to go it alone. Mars on the ascendant in Leo, for better or worse. This is going to be his path now. And, I just wonder who his allies are at this point. I mean, I guess a lot of people could say that the whole thing is just it's just a smokescreen. This would be a typical QAnon kind of thing, right? Well, it's not just, this whole thing with Mattis was really just an act. And the whole thing with Kelly's just an act. Because now what they're going to do is they're going to work behind the scenes because they're getting very, very close to, throwing down those indictments and, yada, yada, yada. And I'm sure, I don't read QAnon, but I would say that would be how it would be scripted if it was to sort of come out like that, right? At least that's what I would think. He only pissed off propaganda media. Alt media flourished. Nice owl. Well, thank you. Yes, my owl is my companion. I get a lot of compliments. Some people are puzzled by the owl. So it's going to be interesting. Like, who's got his back now? Who's got his back? It'd be very fascinating. I think, like I said the other night when I did last Sunday when I did the live stream and I looked at his chart, I said this is going to be a huge time. And he's got the eclipse coming up in his 5th house, and it has to do with his children. And this is I think the first 6 to 8 weeks of 2019 are going to mark the Trump presidency in a way that we haven't seen before, right? Something big. So I think something big is going to happen, and I think his presidency will be defined in the next 6 to 8 weeks. That's my sense, because of everything that's going down and who the replacements are going to be and what their goals might be. But with Trump, it's always kind of this ever-changing sort of mosaic of possibility, which is, I don't have a problem with it. I really don't have a problem. I mean, there's one thing about the Trump presidency that I actually really like, is that it's unpredictable and chaotic. And at the very least, a lot of shit gets revealed. I mean, because when there's a lot of chaos involved, people are always reacting to the chaos. And when they react to the chaos, people are off their game. And when people are off their game, then certain aspects about who they are or the system itself begins to be revealed. Because if it's business as usual, everything just gets to sort of stay beneath the surface. That there's this undercurrent that just keeps, moving forward towards the future, and nothing gets stirred up. Nothing gets brought to the surface, either intentionally or unintentionally. And I think with Trump, clearly we're seeing that, for better or for worse. So this is why I actually like the Trump presidency, even though it's very difficult at times to actually stand by and watch. It's not the type of presidency where, you've got to, I mean, let's use him as a sort of a symbolic figure, like a father. He's the kind of father that he comes home at night and, you don't know what you're going to get. You could get like a really great, series of piggyback rides around the house, and, he's got a buffalo hat on or whatever. And then everybody goes out to burgers, and, you get to watch, I don't know, some movie. You could stay up late and then go to bed. Or he could come home and he could be, the dad that's huffing and puffing and blows the house down. You just don't know what you're going to get with him. And it's not really a great model of stability in some ways, but it's kind of what I grew up with. So I guess I'm okay with that, It's not too far away from my own family story. So at the very least, I find it interesting. And I think the next 6 to 8 weeks are going to tell us quite a bit as to what happens and how things go down. Let's get into some news here. This is a very interesting story. Some of you, because I know you're all sharp as tacks, this is an interesting story. There's a hacker group called the Dark Overlord. The Dark Overlord. Isn't that like a really kind of dumb name for a hacker group? Like, I don't want to piss off any hackers. So Dark Overlord, if you happen to be listening, I'm sure you're probably very interesting fellows, whoever you are, or fellas. Let me not be sexist in my projection as to who hackers may or may not be. I'm sure there's some very good female hackers out there in the world. But a Dark Overlord is kind of, I don't know, if I had a hacking group, I'd have a different name. Maybe my name would be like Jasper's Brigade or something like that. Or, something, or Hello Kitty motherfucker. That would be my name. Because every time they would have print a story about my group, the Dark Overlord would not be what they would be referencing. Hello Kitty motherfucker. They'd have to write that every time, right? And they'd say, well, how can you take a hacking group called Hello Kitty motherfucker that seriously? But then once Hello Kitty motherfucker did something, it'd be like, wow, now you really have to take both the entity and the name seriously. And then it takes on a whole different meaning. It's like, wow, these guys are real badasses because they really don't care what people think about them, especially just based on their name. I mean, to me, that's like a double hack. You're kind of hacking the collective with a name like that. Anyway, let's honor their name, the Dark Overlord. They've announced on New Year's Eve that it had broken into the computer systems of a law firm and obtained files related to the September 11 attacks, threatening to publicly release a large cache of internal files unless a hefty ransom is paid, according to Motherboard. Just release the files. Come on. Let's see. Just throw a few out there. Let's see what you got. So, Dark Overlord's demands targeted several insurers and legal firms, including Lloyd's of London, Silverstein Properties, Hiscox Syndicates. Now, there's an interesting name. Hiscox Syndicates. It is unclear what exact files were stolen by the group. However, the hacking collective tweeted, "We'll be providing many answers about 9/11 conspiracies. There are 18,000 secret documents leaked from @Hiscox.coms and others." That's part of a tweet. The Dark Overlord has a Twitter account. Hiscox Syndicates Limited and Lloyd's of London are some of the biggest insurers on the planet, insuring everything from the smallest policies to some of the largest policies on the planet, and who even insured the structures such as the World Trade Center. The group's announcement reads, according to a spokesman for Hiscox Group, so you have to say that every time. Be like saying Hello Kitty motherfucker every time. The hacker, it's probably some guy's name, Harry Hiscox, the founder of the Hiscox Group. The hackers had breached a law firm which advised the company and had likely stolen files linked to litigation and tied to the 9/11 attacks. The law firm's systems are not connected to Hiscox IT infrastructure, and Hiscox's own systems were unaffected by this incident. What I think that's so funny. One of the cases the law firm handled for Hiscox and other insurers related to litigation from the events of 9/11, and we believe that information relating to this was stolen during that breach, the spokesperson told Motherboard in an email. Once Hiscox, I already said this 6 times now, was informed in the law firm's data breach, it took action and informed policyholders as required. We continue to work with law enforcement in both the UK and the US on this matter. They had apparently Dark Overlord is from England, by the way. The hacking group published a small set of letters, emails, and other documents that mentioned various law firms as well as the TSA and FAA. Those documents themselves appear to be fairly innocuous, but the group says it may release more. In its extortion note, the Dark Overlord included a link for a 10 gigabyte archive of files it allegedly stole. The group also provided a link to this archive to Motherboard before publishing its announcement. The cache is encrypted. The hackers are threatening to release the relevant decryption keys, unlocking different sets of files at a time, unless the victims pay the hackers an undisclosed ransom fee in Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin is, of course, anonymous. Pay the fuck up, or we're going to bury you with this. If you continue to fail us, we'll escalate these releases by releasing the keys. Each time a layer is opened, a new wave of liability will fall upon you, reads the demand letter. Here's my advice to these groups. Don't pay a cent. I want to see what happens. Don't pay a damn cent. Let's see some stuff get released. Maybe just, and if they do pay, it'll probably be very, very hush hush on the quiet, on the QT, until, of course, the Dark Overlord provides us with ample evidence that they did manage to extort some money from these companies. The hacking collective is also offering to sell the data on the dark web hacking forum and has reportedly attempted to blackmail individuals mentioned in the documents themselves. So what we're dealing with is a modern day form of piracy. This is virtual piracy. The pirates are back. And they do not have giant ships with cannons and waving flags of different orientation. Now they're on the internet. They're hacking away, apparently. The Hacking Collective is also offering to sell the data. Okay, I got that. If you're one of the dozens of solicitor firms who is involved in the litigation, a politician who was involved in the case, a law enforcement agency who was involved in the investigation, a property management firm, an investment bank, a client of a client, a reference of a reference, a global insurer, whoever else, you're welcome to contact our email below and make a request to formally have your documents and materials withdrawn from any public release of the materials. However, you'll be paying us to read the post. So they have a Twitter account. The Dark Overlord has an email account, so you can reach them if you want to. The breach was first alluded to by the Hiscox Group, which announced in April that they may have been exposed during a hack on an unnamed U.S. law firm. Hiscox recently learned of an information security incident affecting a specialist law firm in the U.S., blah, 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 blah. And let's look at the comments. What do we have comment-wise? Any interesting comments? I'd like to read comments. And let's see what we have here. As the comments continue to sort of circulate, let me check in with you guys. What do you have? What are your thoughts about this? Any thoughts? Hey, has the owl got the blues? Yes, the owl. Somebody's paying attention to the owl. The owl has attained nirvana. It's true. He only pissed off propaganda media, alt media flourish. We're talking about Trump still. What if Mattis is dirty? He could be. Come on, none of these guys are clean. Let's see what else. All this feels like an op. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I mean, come on. That's why I wasn't really taking it that seriously. Casting a dark shadow on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is used by criminals. Yeah, well. I never liked Mattis, to be honest with you. Something about that guy. Sam McChrystal's interesting. He at least fought. He fought with his troops, right? That was Stan's thing. He'd go out there. They'd be down in the trenches and at night with his troops. And that guy'd be firing away. And he'd look to his right, and there'd be Stan McChrystal. And he'd be, wow, man. Stan McChrystal's on the front lines here. Dude, he's badass, right? At least he did that. Why not Monero? Doesn't make sense. Yeah, I don't know. The whole thing seems really, really weird. It's probably some op, some op. That's what I think. Probably Israeli intelligence or something like that. But I thought I'd just bring it up. I thought I'd throw that out there so that you guys know that there is virtual piracy taking place. Trump alienated generals who supposedly asked him to run for president. Yeah, I mean, that's what we've been talking about here. Been waiting years for one of these non-hacker groups to do something real. I don't think it's real. I don't think these people are real. I think they're kind of an operation. I do. I really do. Because if it was real, they would just unleash the shit, right? If they're real anarchists, they would just throw it out there and, let's see what happens. That's what I think. The PSYOP might be a good way to wake up the sheeple regarding 9/11 again. Maybe. 9/11 is it, man. 9/11 is the skeleton key to everything. You unlock 9/11 and everything just goes like this. Just like that. Just like that. Why on New Year's too? Well, I guess it's a way to get people's attention. It's a slow news day. New Year's is a slow news day. So if you're going to unleash a broadside against the powers that be and try to get as much mileage out of it, I guess New Year's would be a good day to do that. Got a few other stories here that I thought were fairly interesting. This has to do with Mark Zuckerberg. What is going on in the world of Mark Zuckerberg? Well, this is from a website called Blacklisted News. I'm going to read this to you. Zuckerberg funds wireless mind control using game-changing brain implants. So this is from Zero Hedge. When Mark Zuckerberg isn't smoking meat or cooking up excuses for data harvesting scandals. 34-year-old Facebook CEO and his wife, Priscilla Chan, are high-fiving over the investments in their investments in the mind control game, according to Business Insider, funded by their for-profit biomedical research team, the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, also known as CZI. The Silicon Valley power couple is helping to fund research that could vastly improve the lives of people suffering from neuromotor disorders or create an army of compliant cyborgs trained to take Mark seriously. Mark Zuckerberg and his pediatrician wife, she's a doctor, Priscilla Chan, have sold close to 30 million shares of Facebook. That's a lot of shares. To fund an ambitious biomedical research project called the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative with the goal of curing all disease within a generation. Imagine that. You cure all disease within a generation. Then you have people living to 90s and beyond, and the global population explodes. And there's no longer any jobs for all these people because automation has taken over, and now we have a bunch of humans running around who are happy, well, at least maybe happy, but healthy and have a lot of longevity, but can't do shit with their lives because either a robot or somebody from another country has taken their job. Hey, that's a great idea, Mark. Keep on doing that. Reminds me of what happened in Africa. They decided, well, let's, these people in Africa, boy, they've got really tough lives, and they got to have 10 to 11 kids. And out of those 10 to 11 kids, roughly about 5 to 6 pass away through some sort of Malthusian agent, whether it's a disease or an accident or famine or, But let's bring up the health standards in Africa, which on the surface is a very noble thing. We want all people to be healthy. We want people to be sick, right? But now, instead of half that family perishing, maybe 1 or 2 perish, and now you got a population problem and a numbers problem in Africa. Look, I'm not a eugenicist. I'm just looking at the facts, right? And so they didn't say, well, guess what? We're going to have more people, so we may as well have more infrastructure for them. Let's build some companies. Let's build some infrastructure because there's going to be more people. They're going to need to have things, do things. That really didn't happen. Instead, we have NGOs going in there and stirring up shit and exploiting their resources. And now we have, larger amounts of people who are having to deal with lives that are impoverished. That's just the name of the game. Anyway, so they're trying to do the same thing here now, apparently, and eradicate all disease so that people can live long lives and, thanks to Zuckerberg and his cohorts, be displaced by robots. And that doesn't make sense, does it? Of course not. In a new paper published in Nature on Monday, the ZCI-funded researchers outlined a wireless brain device implanted in primates that can record, stimulate, and modify brain activity in real time. At least in primates, the device can sense a normal movement and immediately stop it. According to researchers at the Chan Zuckerberg BioHub, a nonprofit medical research group within the CZI. If the technology translates to humans, it could be used therapeutically for those suffering from diseases like Parkinson's or epilepsy by stopping involuntary muscle movements just as they start. I have a really good idea for Mark Zuckerberg and his wife to throw some money at getting rid of vaccines, which probably cause, I'd say, about 75% of the ailments that we wind up dealing with over the course of our lifetime. It's a novel thought, I know. It doesn't require any kind of super sophisticated cyber technology and R&D, but it could be very effective, and it can be very cost effective. But guess what? People are going to lose money as a result of that, and your vision of becoming Dr. Frankenstein will be muted. You'll just be another guy at a Silicon Valley firm trying to do the right thing in a very anonymous kind of way. Let me read on. The applications of brain-machine interfaces are far-reaching. While some researchers focus on using them to help assist people with spinal cord injuries, that would be good. If somebody has a messed up spinal cord and get into their brain and kind of make a move around, that'd be great. Or other illnesses that affect movement, Others aim to see them transform how everyone interacts with laptops and smartphones. Both the division at Facebook, formerly called Building 8, as well as an Elon Musk founded company called Neuralink, have said they are working on the latter. So, Building 8 is kind of like Area 51 inside Facebook. Mueller said her research at the BioHub is walled off from other work on brain computer interfaces being done at Facebook. Developed within the CZI's notoriously secretive Building 8 program, now renamed. What do they name it to now? Let's rename this program. Let's read that. Let's see. Building 8. We got to come up with a new name. People know it now. Wonder what the name is. Hello Kitty motherfucker headquarters. Sorry. Mueller describes in her paper how she and a team of Berkeley researchers collaborated with a medical startup, Cortera, to use a wireless implantable brain device called the Wand to prevent monkeys from doing trained behavior. Placed on the monkey's head, a palm-sized wireless wand was able to tap into the primate's brain and record, stimulate, and modify the monkey's behavior in real time. The device did so by sensing when the monkey was about to move a joystick, at which point it immediately shoots a targeted electric signal to the right part of its brain. Since the machine was wireless, the monkey didn't have to be restrained during the process. Lucky monkey. To do so, it uses 120 electrodes or conductors placed directly into the primate's brain. Roughly 31 times more electrodes than today's human-grade brain computer devices, which are limited to 4 to 8 electrodes. I wonder who does limiting. Is there a government group or board? Is there an agency dedicated to limiting electrode application in human brains? Right now, the limit's between 4 to 8, but we're looking at raising it by the end of the year to about, I'd say, 10 to 14. That is a big departure from current devices. Typically, require multiple pieces of bulky equipment. You can only either sense movement or disrupt it at one time. Mueller's device does both at once. To do so, it uses 120 electrodes or conductors placed directly in the primate's brain. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, we got that. I believe this device opens up possibilities for new types of treatments, said Mueller, whose work on the brain-machine interface is just one part of a larger set of projects under the CZ BioHub program. BioHub assistant, co-president Joe DeRissi said the goal of the initiative is to help bolster the research being conducted by local scientists and push boundaries when it comes to building important medical devices, which would not otherwise exist. We want people to do the thing that's crazy, the thing that other people wouldn't try. Oh my God. What a world. What a world. So basically what they're doing, like, so the monkey goes to do the joystick and they wave the wand. They go, no, little monkey. And the monkey goes, not gonna do that. Not gonna do that. Something's in my brain. Something up. I don't know what it is. Wave the wand. Would that be great? Everybody's got one. Everybody's got the brain implant. Everybody's got the wand. Everybody's walking around like, I want you to do this. Let me wave my magic wand. Here you go. Yeah, go to the kitchen. Get me a soda. Meanwhile, right, they've got their wand, and they're going to the kitchen. They've got their wand, and it's like, okay, I'm going to the kitchen to get a soda, but I want you to go to the store and buy me some cigarettes. Right? Okay, I'm going to get some cigarettes while you get me the soda. Oh, look at that. Reciprocity. See, technology is good. Okay, let's check in with you guys in the chat room, see what's going on. Dollars used for black market. The computer machine cyborg agenda always begins in some BS, but of course. Oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. If only Stephen Hawking were here, be able to walk and talk again. Just wave the wand over him. Come on. Theory of relativity. You can do it, Steve. Robert, thoughts on C.W. Chanter? I don't have a lot of thoughts on that guy. I know Randy's not a big fan. He's not a big fan. I really don't have any. I mean, he's somebody who is kind of their own version of a debunker. I had no idea that he was a lawyer. Randy told me that, but I really don't have any thoughts on him, to be honest with you. Here's what I think: if somebody is doing something really, really egregious and they're dangerous, I think they deserve, some light and heat. But I tell you, it's a slippery slope when you sort of get into these YouTubers, and if you're going to get into them, you better have really good information, and you better know what you're talking about and be willing to back it up. So I don't know enough about him, to be honest with you, to have an informed opinion. Yeah, that was a good show, huh? That was a really good show in Off Planet. I really dug that show. Yeah. If you haven't seen it, me and Randy and Emily do a year-end wrap-up, and it's a good one. It's a good one. Apparently, Freeman's people like the show, and I'll be doing something with Freeman. I haven't done anything with Freeman in a long time. I had Freeman on my show way back in, I think, 2011, and I used to have Jamie, his wife, on my show every now and then. She's actually really smart, and so I'm looking. I was dead on about Peterson. Yeah, Jordan Peterson, man. So this is the other thing I wanted to talk about today before we sign off and move with this Mars and Aries energy. Can you feel it? Can you feel that Mars and Aries energy? See, yesterday was really messed up because Pisces was at 29. Mars at 29 degrees Pisces was opposing my sun. It was a bad time. Not a great time. Freeman is cool. I dig Freeman. Yeah. I hung out with Freeman one time in Austin. He's a really nice guy. Super nice guy. Really cool friends. I felt like I was in Austin. I was like, man, I used to live in Austin. At that time he was living in, I think, Omaha or someplace like that. And he was visiting. So it was me and his wife and some friends of his. And like, man, I'm in Austin now. I'm hanging out with Freeman. I'm hanging out with cool Austin people. This is great. And then he went away, went back, and that was it. It was an isolated experience of him, but it was cool. I enjoyed it. I like Freeman. Freeman's a pioneer. Freeman is a pioneer. Like a lot of what's happening now with the internet, at least this version of it, right? Freeman was the guy that got his footprint in early. I used to watch a lot of his early stuff. One of my favorite Freeman episodes is Freeman in Maya Land. You should check that one out. That's a good one, where he goes down to Mexico and he hangs out with the shamans in Mexico. That's a good show. Anyway, I want to just bring up this thing around whatchamacallit, Sargon of Akkad. Yeah, Freeman was totally ahead of it. It was to be honest with you, it was Freeman and Alex Jones, both of whom were living in Austin and both of whom were using Austin public access television. That was what they were doing. And then those shows that they were doing on Austin public access were then uploaded to the internet and very early versions of them on YouTube. So that was what was available with the technology. And they were both from Austin. You know what else is from Austin? Is the guy that did the Illuminati cards. Williams is his last name. He's from Austin too. So you had the Williams guy, you had Freeman, you had Alex Jones, the Illuminati cards. So Austin was kind of this volcanic geothermal hotspot for awakening and truth and high strange. It was very interesting. So yeah, Austin. Anyway, so I want to talk about this Sargon of Akkad thing, and Emily and I are going to do that. We're going to have another mashup here pretty soon. And basically, what happened is that this guy Sargon of Akkad was on somebody's YouTube channel, and Sargon of Akkad is he's kind of a hard lefty, right? He's like a hard truth lefty, which for the lefties they find to be very, very confusing, because only people on the right theoretically speak hard truths. Hey, Michael. So he was on this YouTube channel, not even his own channel, and he was talking about Hitler and the Nazis and the N-word, which I talked about, right? I talked about this before. So he got basically kicked off of Patreon because of this show. And essentially what Patreon did is Patreon sort of redefined their terms and conditions as this thing evolved, because he pointed out that he did not do the show on his Patreon account or any platform associated with Patreon. And they kept sending him these emails. And finally they said, well, look, it doesn't matter where you do the show. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where your material shows up. It could be Twitter, it could be YouTube, it could be a blog. You could write something in the sand on a beach, and somebody could post that picture to the internet. And if we find that to be offensive, we'll cut you loose. And that's what they did. So now Dave Rubin and Jordan Peterson are going to start their own Patreon style platform. Okay, well, that's going to be interesting. Let's see how free the speech will be on that platform, right? So say somebody gets in there and has their show, and they say, well, I think Jordan Peterson is a Shabbos goy and running cover for the Zionist occupied government, while he's also doing double time on the other side for Agenda 21. And he's a spineless little fuck. Do you think they'll allow that person to stay on their Patreon platform? It'll be interesting. Let's see how these purveyors of free speech actually deal with free speech when it comes to their own backyard. Let's see how fast they turn into a Jack Conte, if indeed they do. If it is a bastion of free speech and they allow some of the dialogue, which I just put out there as kind of a trial balloon, how long do you think they'll be able to be supported by whatever kind of monetary technology or any ISP? How long do you think they'll be supported in doing that? Because at some point there'll be so much outrage. Oh, you people are incredibly bad. You people are Nazis. People are nuts. We're going to go after you. And all of a sudden, all the technological support systems that are part of the infrastructure for that platform just decide to pull the plug. Oh, we're getting too much heat. You can't do this. You can't do this. You got to kick these people off. So what are their standards and guidelines going to be for quote unquote free speech? It'll be interesting. Jordan Peterson's a smart guy. I think Dave Rubin's probably a smart guy. Let's see if they can figure it out. And if they can, maybe they'll be able to, stand in the face of criticism. And even more importantly, or the criticism, is the mob mentality, the lynch mob mentality, which seems to dominate what happens now on the internet when somebody says something offensive, or at least offensive according to them. What else do we have here? Let's see. We could have a 15 minutes of flame party with Shari and Rhonda too. Yeah. So when are you leaving? Maybe I'll make a trip to go to North Carolina. How far is Memphis from North Carolina? I've always wanted to go to Memphis. So maybe I'll come by. Maybe I'll be a part of a going away party for Joe. We could do 15 minutes of flame from North Carolina. How does that sound? I'm into it. Okay. I think I'm out of here. Memphis might be an 8-hour drive. 8 hours, huh? I can handle that. I can fly to Memphis, rent a car, and drive. I can handle that. Okay, I'm going to get out of here. So welcome to 2019. Mars has just entered into Aries. You can use that energy to kickstart your day, kickstart your life, kickstart your heart, and get into a new year, theoretically. Feels a little like the old year to me, but that's just me. The rest of you, you're coming with optimism, you're coming with positivity, and I like it. We're a team, and as a team, we have to keep each other, to prop each other up, right? You watch these guys on real teams, in the NFL or college football, they're a team, man. They don't let their guys get down. They keep them up. They support and love one another. So with that, here's to love and support in 2019. May we have it in abundance. both here and in other areas of your life. Use your head to discern what's real, your heart to step what's possible. Welcome to 2019. I'm Robert Phoenix. Have a great day.